أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب والحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful, we ask Allah to send His greatest peace and blessings upon Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. We praise Allah for all the blessings He has given us, and the greatest blessing being that He allowed us to be of the ones who remain steadfast, dedicated, and loyal in the path of our Master after the Prophet, the commander of the faithful, the prince of the believers, the protector of the Prophet and his message, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. We praise Allah for this blessing and every blessing, for without Allah, we would have nothing. Assalamu alaikum, my dear respected brothers and sisters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, brothers and sisters, we're going to be continuing tonight in the conversations and the discussions that we've been having in the theme of the vision of a virtuous community. And tonight, we're going to be delving into specifically the idea of what it means to be Shia. Where did this idea come from? And specifically, this topic of what does Shia mean and the history behind the use of the term Shia during both the time of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and the time after and then the time before. How deep is the history of the term Shia and what's associated with it? Tonight, we're going to be covering a series of questions. Those questions include: one, what is our name and how should we feel about it? Secondly, what is the story of Ammar al-Kufi and the Rafida? Thirdly, what happened with Aaron or Harun when Moses, Prophet Musa alayhi salam, left his people for 40 days? Fourth, who coined the term Shia in the Muslim world? Who was the first to begin using this term Shia during the time of Islam? And why did the Prophet describe himself as a tree? Let's delve right into that and begin with regards to the name itself. What is our name and how should we feel about it? There's a narration from our Imam, specifically narrated from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, stressing the pride of our name. So the Imam is speaking to his companion Abu Basir. He tells Abu Basir, لِيُهْنِئْكُمُ الْإِسْمِ, be proud of your name. Abu Basir responds to the Imam and he says, "O Imam, what is our name? May my soul be your ransom, O son of the messenger." The Imam responds and says simply, "It is Shia, Ash-Shia, that is your name." Abu Basir responds to the Imam and he exclaims, "The people make fun of us for using that name." As in, at that time, when people were referred to as Shia, it was referred to in a derogatory fashion. In fact, a number of the terms that were used to describe the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, a minority in the community that they were living in the society that they were living in, there was derogatory terms that were used, be it Shia or be it Rafida. The word Rafida we're going to speak of, inshallah, in the next questions as well. The response that the Imam gives Abu Basir is he cites to the verses in the Holy Quran. In the Holy Quran, he cites to chapter 37, verse 83. He says, وَإِنَّ مِن شِيعَتِهِ لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ. Indeed, Ibrahim was among his, as in Noah's, Shia or followers. And then secondly, he says in chapter 28, verse 15, فَاسْتَغَاثَهُ الَّذِي مِن شِيعَتِهِ عَلَى الَّذِي مِن عَدُوِّهِ. The one who was from his followers sought his help against him who was from his enemies. The Imam says, citing to the verses of the Holy Quran, again and repeats, be proud of your name. And Imam al-Baqir makes it very clear to us. One, what's our name? Two, how do we feel about our name? And three, that the source of your name is not one that is simply used in the derogatory fashion that people are using it here today. but rather it's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses to describe some of the most honorable people in history. Ibrahim, for example, as being the follower or the Shia of Nuh, of Noah. Let's go on to the second question. When we're looking at the next aspect of how we should feel about some of the terms that are used in describing the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the domain of Tashayyu', the domain of the Shia, and the affiliation with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, as some of the terms that were used, it's important to see the use of the word Rafidah throughout history. For one, during the times of Imam al-Baqir, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, in the courtyards, or excuse me, in the courts of the appointed governors and the judges of the Muslim state, sometimes the use of the word Rafidah, or most of the times, the use of the word Rafidah was used to discredit people. So one of the companions of the Imam, Ammar al-Kufi, Ammar al-Kufi has this experience in the court of Abu Layla. Abu Layla was a state-appointed judge in the city of Kufa. So in his court, Ammar was there as a witness to the case that they were addressing. As a witness to the case, they were looking and seeing who here is as a witness to the matter that we're addressing here in the court of Abu Layla. They point out Ammar al-Kufi. Ammar al-Kufi is discredited as a witness. Why? Because he's a Rafidi. Abu Layla looks at Ammar and he says, "Get up, Ammar. We all know that your testimony is not accepted here. You're a Rafidi." So Ammar gets up and he heads for the doors. As he's walking towards the doors and he's walking away, he's seen to be vividly shaking and crying. The man is shaking. Abu Layla is astonished. He looks at Ammar and he tells him, "Ammar, turn around. You're known. I mean, we discredited you, yes, but you're known as a brave man and as someone who's knowledgeable in our community. And now you're crying? I mean, if it hurts so much for you to be called a Rafidi, then just renounce it. Renounce the whole being a Rafidi and your association with those that you follow and become one of our brothers." Ammar turns to him and responds, "You misunderstand me. It is not because of spite that I cry. I cry because I am worthy. I am not worthy of being associated with the Rafidah. You called me a Rafidi. I am not worthy to be associated with the Rafidah. It is a lofty status that I do not deserve. It is such a great attribute. Woe unto you, O judge. My master told me that the first people that were called Rafidah were the magicians who witnessed the miracle of Moses, believed in him, and rejected the commands of the Pharaoh. They accepted the punishment of the Pharaoh, so he called them the Rafidah when they rejected his religion." The word of the Pharaoh to those who reject everything that God does not like. I cry over myself out of the fear that God will look at my heart and he will ask me, "Oh Ammar, are you really a person who rejects everything that is wrong, rejects everything that is against God, and obeys everything that is right and what I have ordered you? Are you truly like this?" That I know would lead to a great chastisement. And he left. Abu Layla is just dumbfounded. Everyone in the court is dumbfounded at his response. And word went around town that Ammar al-Kufi essentially told off the judge in such a way, such an eloquent, beautiful, poetic way. Word came to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. And Ammar al-Kufi, being one of the companions of the Imam of Ahlul Bayt, the word got back to him. And when Imam al-Sadiq heard the story and listened to the exchange between Abu Layla and Ammar, the Imam testified the following. He said, "If Ammar had sins, لو أن على عمار من الذنوب ما هو أعظم من السماوات والأراضين لمحيت عنه بهذه الكلمات." if Ammar had sins greater than all the heavens and all the earth, they would be wiped away because of these words. These words will increase his good deeds before his Lord, the Almighty and the Majestic, so that he will make every small deed the size of a mustard seed 1,000 times greater than this world. The term Rafida, as we see and we look back into history, was not one that was merely used with just the magicians that rejected the Pharaoh and believed in Musa alayhi salam. In fact, this was seen in the relationship of Musa alayhi salam with Harun, with Aaron, and the followers of Aaron. Now, what happened in the third question that we're addressing? What happened with Musa, Aaron, and Aaron's followers? When Moses went away for 40 days and left his people, he made sure that they realized and they knew that the person in charge here, the one that you follow, the one who's taking my place, the one who I want you to follow just as you followed me, is who? Is Harun, Aaron. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we remember some of the verses from the Holy Quran, for example, when I begin my introduction every day, رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. The verses continue, and this is actually a supplication in the Quran by Musa to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding going to the Pharaoh. And he speaks to Allah, asking him, "Oh Allah, and make for me a supporter, my brother Harun." So Harun was always there for Nabi Musa, always there to be as his supporter. Wazirun min ahli, a supporter from my family, someone to be there for me at all times, and in my absence to continue after me. So Aaron was to Musa as that successor, as that guardian, as that leader that he could rely on in his absence. And when he would leave for 40 days, he would rely on Aaron. Now, as we know in the stories of the Holy Quran, what happened with the people of Musa was that the majority of them began worshiping the calf. And it wasn't that all of them worshiped the calf. In fact, there was a small group of people that chose not to worship the calf and chose to stay loyal to Aaron and remain on the path of Musa and Harun. So when we're looking at Musa and Harun, or Moses and Aaron, we're seeing a majority of their followers during this 40-day period, they begin worshiping the calf. They move away from the teachings of our prophet Moses in the oneness of God and the justice of God, and making sure that you worship God alone. God is simple, God is unique, God is one, there's none like he. Aaron held on to that. His followers held on to that. And when they did not waver from their position and they would not join the others in worshiping the calf, they began calling them the Rafida. And they began belittling them and wanting to harm them and saying, you people, you don't want to join us? You're the Rafida, you're the rejectors. So that they would also become known as the Rafida. It's beautiful in that the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he often compared himself and his relationship with Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam to that of Moses and Aaron. He tells Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, Ya Ali, anta minni, that you are from me, and you are to me as Aaron was to Moses, except that there is no prophet after me. Aaron was a prophet in his own right, and he was the successor of Musa alayhi salam, and that in his absence he would always be there to make sure that the affairs of the faith and the faithful were taken care of, just as Ali ibn Abi Talib, Amir al-Mu'mineen, was in the position to the Prophet himself. Now, when we're looking further, we also see it's important for us to realize, after the use of the word Shia in the Holy Quran, in looking at all the stories of the prophets, be it with Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, or Prophet Noah, or Prophet Moses and Prophet Aaron, there's a number of times where the word Shia is used, and or even the word Rafida is used historically. Some would use it as a derogatory term. However, in the use of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many a times, especially when it came to the prophets, it came to address these followers. And as we know, simply put, the word Shia means followers of. Of course, there could be followers of bad people and there could be followers of great people. The significance of the word Shia comes from what? The significance is attached to who are they following. So in our case, when it comes to Shi'at Ali ibn Abi Talib, it is the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen and everything that he stood for and everything that he represented. If one is to commit himself to being a follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen, he is committing himself to being a follower and a servant of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the idea of this relationship with Amir al-Mu'mineen and the Holy Prophet, it's important for us to realize and remind ourselves consistently so that our vision of Ahlul Bayt is extremely clear and people's vision of us is extremely clear. When Amir al-Mu'mineen was asked by some of his companions after he was being praised for his lofty status, and in fact, that Amir al-Mu'mineen had attributes that were at the level of prophets and even greater, and when being compared historically and theologically to Prophet Adam, Prophet Abraham, Prophet Musa, Prophet Isa, the attributes of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib would be that he would be second to none except the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he would say this so beautifully. When compared to the prophets, the attributes and the traits of Amir al-Mu'mineen would be clear. When compared to the Holy Prophet and asked, what's your position of the Prophet and how do you compare to him? Ali ibn Abi Talib would say simply, أَنَا عَبْدٌ مِّنْ عَبِيدِ Muhammad, that I am merely a servant amongst the servants of Muhammad. Let us be clear. When we praise Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, when we think of him, when we adore him, when we attach to him, when we have this pride in being associated with him and connecting to him as our path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is merely as that path to the Prophet and that connection to him. Because he makes it clear to us that he is nothing but a servant to him. So that love for Ali is that love for Muhammad, and that love for Muhammad is that love for Allah. And we'll see that the narrations of the Prophet himself, how does that all come together? Now, who was the first person, or who coined the term Shia in the Muslim world? We see it used in the Holy Quran, we see it used historically, but the word Shia in the Muslim world, who began using it? Who was the first to use it? Of course, it was the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is narrated by Ibn al-Abbas. He says, "Ya Ali, shi'atuka humul faizun yawm al-qiyamah. فمن أهان واحدا منهم فقد أهانك ومن أهانك فقد أهانني ومن أهانني أدخله الله نار جهنم خالدا فيها وبئس المصير." O Ali, the Prophet is speaking to Amir al-Mu'mineen, your Shia are the victors on the day of judgment. Whoever insults one of them, your followers, has insulted you. And whoever insults you has insulted me. And whoever insults me, God will settle him in hellfire where he will stay eternally. What a wretched fate. He continues, Ya Ali, anta minni wa ana mink, ruhuka min ruhi, wa tinatuka min tinati, wa shi'atuka khuliqu من فضل طينتنا فمن أحبهم فقد أحبنا ومن أبغضهم فقد أبغضنا ومن عاداهم فقد عادانا ومن ودهم فقد ودنا. Look at the relationship that the Prophet has established between the followers of Ali, Ali and Muhammad and Allah. O Ali, you are from me and I am from you. Your soul is from my soul. Your clay, as in your creation, is from my clay, from my creation. And your Shia were created from the remainder of our clay, from our own creation. Whoever loves us, whoever loves them, has loved us. And whoever hates them has hated us. And whoever opposes them has opposed us. And whoever shows them affection has shown us affection. Now, this is a beautiful reality for us to reflect and a great responsibility for us to realize. The connection that we have as being followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam does not come in mere virtue of saying Aliyun Waliullah or having a general admiring relationship, an adoration for the Prophet and his family, and specifically to Amir al-Mu'mineen. As we'll discuss inshallah in the coming nights, specifically tomorrow, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what are the attributes of the Shia, of the followers of Ahlul Bayt, and how does one actually consider himself to be a Shia, a follower of Ahlul Bayt. Again, stemming from one of the previous discussions we had with regards to Islam and Iman, and how does one truly come into Iman, and that is directly related to what? The conduct and behavior and commitment to action, where it is not merely something that we say, but it's something that we do. It is not merely something that comes from our tongues, but it is settled in the heart. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was that greatest servant of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we commit ourselves and try to commit ourselves as his followers to emulate his path and being on the path of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, let's go finally to the last question when it comes to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and describing himself as a tree. The Prophet is like a tree, by his own words. Ibn al-Harith narrates from Imam Ali alayhi salam that he heard the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, say, مثلي مثل الشجرة مثلي مثل شجرة أنا أصلها وعلي فرعها والحسن والحسين ثمرتها والشيعة أوراقها فأبى أن يخرج من الطيب إلا الطيب. My likeness is that of a tree. I am its root. Ali is its branch. Hassan and Hussein are its fruits, and the Shia are its leaves. Indeed, nothing will spring from what is good except what is similarly good. Now, again, bringing this all together, as we look at this relationship that we have with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, it's important for us to realize that from a sociological perspective, like we mentioned yesterday, from a socio-religious standpoint, that we're looking at ourselves and we're looking at everybody else around us. Though that there is great significance placed on that core identity as being followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, what does that do for the way we look at everybody else? When people generally see themselves and they see themselves in a lofty status, that can induce one to begin behaving towards other people in a negative way. That if I am this, then I guess people that don't have this relationship or don't have this connection, then they're not as good. But to the contrary, the way that Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam raised their true followers are to be like Ammar al-Kufi in the court of Abu Layla, when he would be embarrassed to even assume the word Rafida, assume the word Rafida, and it was used as the derogatory term to him. He didn't stand and say, yes, I am a Rafidi, and I'm going to walk away in a fashionable, cool manner, as you would see in a lot of movies, where he storms out and said, yeah, I'm the Rafida. No, not at all. He took that as a moment of reflection for himself. And he said, I don't even deserve the word that you're using. You may not know what it means. You may not know you may not realize the meaning of it and its true depth, but I do. Because I look at myself as just merely a lowly servant amongst servant. I look at myself as one who is just charting this path. Now, these are some of the closest companions of the Imams, and they themselves did not even dare to say, I'm truly a Rafidi in that sense. Why? Because Iman and being a Rafidi in the sense of rejecting falsehood and anything that stands against God, that battle begins within. The Holy Prophet ﷺ, as he welcomed some of the soldiers of the community, of the nation, of the religion, of his own nation, he welcomed them and he said, congrats to those who have just completed, after returning from a war of a battle, congrats to those who have just completed the smaller jihad, the smaller struggle. And they said, dumbfounded, Ya Rasulullah, we just came back from this battle and this is the smaller struggle? What is the greater struggle, Ya Rasulullah? The greater struggle is jihad al-nafs, the struggle of oneself, the struggle of one's soul. Why? Because it would be that even some of the greatest companions of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they realized they struggled within themselves and they had battles within. They faced their own demons, as we all do. And that to have this title of Rafidi, one who rejects, one who stands against his demons and fights them and beats them every single time, is always victorious in the battle of the self. As Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, even with the hunger of his own stomach, he would look at his stomach and he would say, shut up before I swallow a rock and make you shut up. I am the master of myself. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam would show it to us on the battlefield and in the mosque, would show it to us in his home and in the marketplace. Wherever he went, he was the master of himself. And his companions, when they were praised, they would lower their heads. When they were praised, they would only take that as the kindness of the Prophet and his Ahlul Bayt. They wouldn't take it and parade it around town and say, look at who we are, we're the Shia, we're the Rafida. But rather, it would allow them to continue to humble themselves and check themselves. As in, am I truly a Shi'i? Am I truly a follower of Ali, of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the way Ibrahim was to Nuh, the way Aaron was to Moses? Am I truly? And that's the reflection that you and I need to have if we call ourselves followers of Ahlul Bayt, if we call ourselves Shia, if we adore our status or our connection with the Prophet and his family in such a way. That is the takeaway here. Beyond all of this, of course, to make sure that we understand that the affiliation with the term Shia and the name Shia is not something to shy away from. It is definitely something that we should be proud of. Of course, in circumstances that would harm you or be unadvantageous or put you at a disadvantage, then definitely we have our rulings to make sure that we understand the way we conduct ourselves in our community, in our society, where we don't flaunt something or show off something in a way that is going to hurt us or hurt our community, regardless of what it may be. It could be the title or the affiliation or speaking up about certain things. We know that Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam taught us to be ones who knew how to conduct themselves in their community, in their society, and were smart with the words that they used, and were smart in their engagement with people. The position that Ammar al-Kufi had with Abu Layla was one who was a man who looked defeated, and that they wanted to bring him in. Oh, if you're crying about this use of the term Rafida that we have with you and it hurt you so much, then come, our brother, refuse, renounce them, and join us, and let us be together as brothers. But he made the record clear into, you don't understand it, you don't get it. Rafida is not something that you're calling me. Rafida are the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised in the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated the status of these individuals who committed themselves to a lifestyle of dedication to Allah, removing from their hearts falsehood and cruelty of all forms, and committing themselves to justice and righteous doing all the time. Now, we, alhamdulillah, have addressed these few questions and made sure that we covered the following. We covered what Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam said as in being the name of his followers as an Ashia, and to be proud of our name. That we covered in the second question, Ammar al-Kufi, who was praised by Ahlul Bayt for bringing honor to what was used as a derogatory term, and cleared the record of what it truly means to be a Rafidi. And in that sense, that people who use this term, you don't realize this. If you are someone who is on the path of truth and you're the person who is claiming to be a Muslim and a follower of the Holy Prophet, then definitely you would want to be a Rafidi, because that is one who is rejecting all things, all falsehood. Aaron, peace and blessings be upon him, and his followers were one who committed themselves to Prophet Musa, and they were called Rafida as well in a derogatory fashion. But Moses would praise Aaron and praise his followers for ones who stayed committed to his path. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would be the one who would coin the term or the use of the term Shia and would talk about the significance of the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Remember that when it comes to the Prophet and the followers of Ali, he had a loving heart towards them, and he had a loving relationship with them. The followers of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Amir al-Mu'mineen, were existent and present at the time of the Prophet. And he would point them out. Amir al-Mu'mineen would point them out. Some of them included Ammar ibn Yasir, Abu Dharr al-Ghafari, Miqdad, and amongst others. These individuals, Salman al-Farisi, of course, these individuals were looked at the time of the Prophet, and they were pointed out and they were praised. And then they would continue as the ones who would safeguard the religion with Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and be their loyal companions and supporters. Finally, the Prophet, and the fifth question that we asked, the Prophet said he was like a tree, and Ali was its branch, and Hassan and Hussein were its fruits, and the Shia were his leaves. Brothers and sisters, we'll continue the conversation inshallah in the coming nights and continue to delve deeper into the vision of a virtuous community. Thank you for joining us tonight, and inshallah in the coming nights. Please, if you have any questions or would like to comment on some of these discussions, feel free to reach out to us, follow us on our social media channels, share your pictures of watching these videos. Let us continue to reach out to our families, our friends, share these links so that we continue to benefit from these discussions in the holy nights of Ramadan. One of the greatest things to do in the holy nights of Ramadan is for us to seek knowledge and for us to share knowledge. So inshallah, as we continue to share from the verses of the Holy Quran, from the verses and the sayings of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and his Ahlul Bayt, and we delve deeper to see and understand the analysis of our scholars and how they interpret and see the vision that Ahlul Bayt, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and the prophets before him, all coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What was the vision of a virtuous community, and how do you and I fit into all of this? In all of these discussions, as we continue to comment and we continue to discuss, we'll see how you and I fit into this big picture, fit into this vision and this reality. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave us alone. The guidance is there. That we are connected, and inshallah, we will continue to strive and continue to elevate ourselves and grow and develop as individuals, as families, and as a community, inshallah. هذا والحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة والتسليم على نبينا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.